Milan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for volunteering your time, by the way.
For sure.
So, um, we have been working together again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say somewhere in the range of 3 weeks, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, Talk to me about. So, I just want to get your perspective about 3 weeks in. What it's been like. What stood out to you? And full disclosure for anyone who might come across this, we're still very much in the beginning stages. We lead a very busy life, and a lot of this has been you in your off time, working on this stuff. And we haven't sent the first email campaign yet.
Not yet.
Cool. So we'll
Okay.
start. We'll start from the angle, like I mentioned before, of what your experience has been like 3 weeks in, joining the support, what stands out, so on and so forth. So, with that being said, talk to me about um, how you even found out about any or all of this, and what made you want to consider getting some sort of assistance. Talk to me about where you were at mentally and with your intentions coming into this.
Yes, yes, for sure. So I come from the traditional 9 to 5 background. My parents, told me to go to school, get a job, get a good education, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Naturally, I'm the kind of person that always wants to do more, that always wanted to not just have my job be a job and, retire in 50 years kind of thing. So that's the kind of person that I am. And then coming into this, I've had a couple different other business ventures before I started this, but it's been very apparent just with the way the world is going now, how AI is like taking over everything. And I don't want to be behind that gold rush, if you will. And so I remember telling my boyfriend one day, it was like a lightning struck me. And I was like, I need to find some type of AI business to start,
Mhm.
um, like now. And what's funny, I think I told you, Pablo, but I went on TikTok. I was just looking AI. It was AI. It was just like a bunch of AI stuff. But I realized with my current role, a lot of people need, or a lot of companies need leads, and that's never going to stop. So I looked up AI leads, or AI businesses that do that, and I was just scrolling. I probably was scrolling for about an hour, and then you popped up, and I was like, oh wow, okay. And I looked at your page, and it looked like it had a lot of value on it. And I'm not the kind of person to really go onto someone's YouTube or someone's Instagram, like send me a DM here. I'm not that person. But for some reason, I decided to go to your YouTube because you seem very serious and very genuine,
Yep.
and authentic. So did that. And by the time I went onto your page, you had tons and tons of videos, like at least 100 plus.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, this person's serious. And I'm glad I clicked on this person to kind of look up what they're doing.
Mhm.
And then I saw that 7 hour course. I told myself I can do this by myself, actually, beforehand. Um, and then I realized I wanted to speed up that process because time is of the essence. And I wasn't sure how much it was going to cost. I think at the time you were creating it and trying to figure out what it looked like. And
Mhm.
by the time it dropped, I was like, let me just go to this webinar. So I went to the webinar, and yeah, so from that point, I felt like this is great. Like the webinar was more than I expected, to be quite honest. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but it was great. I think doing that and setting up a time with you to chat and everything, I had questions. I probably had like 7 questions, and you know this.
Mhm.
And I was like, let's get down to these brass tacks. And you answered each of those questions like the way I don't think I had an expectation, but everything just made sense.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I was already looking for that, so it made a lot of sense for me. And by the time I got into the program and everything, there was so much value already there. How you responded, how quickly you responded, um, just going above and beyond with how you treat your cohort, and
Mhm.
that just spoke volumes. I think that spoke volumes before I even got into the program, but also like getting into the program as well. So not to go super super long, I am just excited to continue this journey
Yeah.
because it's already accelerated my progress, probably 100x, because I'm
Yeah.
getting stuck on like little things that I now get to ask you directly, and seeing other people in the program as well, starting from where you're at and getting to know them a little bit better, and see everyone else's growth has been phenomenal and astronomical in terms of just running with people that are doing the same thing. So it's been amazing. Hopefully that answers the question.
No, beautiful. Yeah, that definitely answers my question. I didn't realize that. But yes, starting if you zoom out, you can start to see the little milestones being hit by different people, whether it's first you get over the little learning curve, and then you get your platform set up and all your accounts set up, and then you got your clay table now, and then you can see someone who's like maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ahead of you, like what that would look like, and okay, people setting their first campaigns, then people getting their first sales calls and closing their first deals, and it's kind of happening in these very, very visible and predictable stages. So that's a great point. Now, talk to me. You hinted at this. I'm going to dig a bit further. Talk to me about. So let's rewind, or actually, just let's recap the last 3 weeks now. Talk to me about your experience so far. Anything that has stood out. What's particularly helpful? I don't know if you've invested in any other prior education that hasn't been traditional education, but how does this compare? Just what stood out in the experience been so far?
Definitely. I have invested in other education before, and actually going into the role that I'm in right now, I invested in a course because I've never done what I did now or am doing, being in sales. So I feel like this is astronomically different. I love how there's platforms for me to go on and kind of go back into. I think the biggest thing that you stand out more than the other platforms that I've used is that there's a closer and like tight knit group. Number one, and number two, you're able to add in questions, like whatever question you have, you can put it in the chat, or put it on the feed, and you get back to it very, very quickly. Yeah. So the difference I'd say was that the previous group is not as tight knit as this one, and just how quickly you get back to the questions that we each have, learning from each other, and in a sense, just kind of like having that friendly competition. Because I'm like, I'm naturally competitive, so I'm like, when I see someone else that has like crossed a certain path, I'm like, oh my, I got to get there quickly too, So it really helps me stay focused with how quickly I get things done as well. But it's been a lot more than I expected. Just having being able to talk to you like face to face it's huge, and having different questions. I think that opens up opportunity to get to know you better, and other people as well, not just live in virtual land, just seeing what other people post. There's opportunities for us to get to know each other a lot better too. So it's been a lot more. I don't know what I was expecting coming in. I just know I was just going to be able to ask questions if I did have it. But there's just little idiosyncrasies like that one that just kind of take this to the next level from what I've seen in the market.
Got you. Cool. Did you have any sort of this is so full disclosure, I sent to you, for anyone who might come across this, I did send you a list of bullet points that I'd be asking, but I'm going to go off script just a little bit. Okay. Going into this, did you have you definitely had some questions, but did you have any sort of natural skepticism that anyone who was getting ready to invest some thousands of dollars might have? And if you did, were they addressed on the other side?
Yeah. So the answer is yes on both ends. I was a little bit nervous because I literally I initially saw you on TikTok. I'm like, you're a real person. And then I saw your YouTube, you take this seriously. And then I just started binging your content. I think over time, I just started to have a little bit more understanding of how you thought, how you operate. And I think over a span of 30 plus videos that I probably binged, I think you can't really fake that, especially when you're starting to kind of just go off of how your structure is. And so by the time I got a chance to meet you, I did have questions. I did want to make sure the things that I was looking at was real. And not even just that, but all understanding how this program works. And so I did ask 7 different questions, I think. And naturally through that conversation, it just made me feel just confirmed with who you were, what to expect. And I think the biggest part that I really have enjoyed or really that stood out to me was you asking us how to make your or the program better. And there's many people out there that don't really care what anyone else has to say or add, because they are getting their paycheck and that's that. And I don't think I've had anyone ask me how the program's going, how everything is, and checking in. And by the time, I decided to take a, leap for myself, it just paid off tenfold on the back end. And I'm learning even more how to become a better entrepreneur. And I think that was the biggest thing that you had said that really, really turned it into like a no-brainer for me, was that you wanted me not to just like check boxes off, I guess, in a sense, but to become a better entrepreneur. Because I it's not that I'm like not planning on doing this forever, but I think it really, the type of lessons and the kind of person you become in an environment like this is what makes me feel like I'm very confident in anything else I go into. So that was like that added extra bonus that under the layers of what I already was looking for came to light with.
Absolutely, yeah, and we've touched on this before. The business model or the mechanism, cold email, it's just the vehicle that we're using to get to the next milestone in for our endeavor is. But these skills and this network that we got going on, like that carries over into whatever we want to do next. I'll be the first to admit Vinta Scale or SPECTRE is not my end all be all. But for whatever comes next, I know that it's made me a lot better and more savvy of an entrepreneur, and I'm very, very, very big on that. Absolutely. So wrapping this up, has it been worth your investment so far, and why? And I guess that why would probably be a summation of everything you said. But was it worth your investment, and why? And then a part 2 is like, would you recommend this to someone? If so, what kind of person?
Yeah, 100%. The reason I smiled when you said that was because I particularly remember myself and another person in the cohort talking about not even being sure if this was like within my tax bracket, but I just had to make sure. I bet on myself first. It's not necessarily about Pablo. It's not necessarily about anybody else. It's about how confident are you in yourself and getting to where you want to go. And again, the fact that you're even doing these testimonials kind of just adds to that. But yeah, it's been, I would have paid more, to be quite honest with that, to answer that question. And then recommending it to someone else, absolutely. And the type of I would recommend this to is someone that knows that they are meant for more, but probably, wasn't sure about themselves. And I know the kind of person I am. I have that ambition, but I really like the school structure of things, or just structure in general. And this gave me a structure to go by instead of just like willy-nilly, clicking on this video, hoping it helps, clicking on that video, hoping it helps. And even though your channel definitely helps, like it started off, and I know one of the questions I had was, why can't I just watch your 7-hour video and go from there? There's a lot of, what you told me was there's a lot of idiosyncrasies, again, just small details about what might come up over time. And so I would recommend this to the person that wants to do more for themselves, wants to get on this AI gold rush, not being stuck after the fact. There's a lot of what you call worms out there, and I don't want to be a worm. So anyone that doesn't want to be a worm, I would say, that is committed to themselves and like knows that they can get something done if they believe in themselves, this is for that person. I would highly recommend it too.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate that, Milan. Thank you. And I imagine that since it's so early on, there's probably going to be a part B or part 2 to this. So like and I love doing it that way because it makes for a good before and after. Experience just after you've just enrolled, and then, how this might help you or help someone with the learning curve and collapsing time and helping them feel more confident about things, knowing that they have that extra support, that they can get their questions answered directly from someone who's right there with them. And then you applying the actual mechanism that I present or that we present, seeing yourself get results from it would be the part B, and then your satisfaction at that point. So thank you for for giving me your time and
Yeah, absolutely.
feedback. Appreciate that. Thanks, Milan.
Thank you, Pablo. Appreciate it.